Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Nakwam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, all honor and all glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach, woman like Yabushai, double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach, woman like Yabushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing the husbands, being submissive, being diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. And shalom to everybody tuning in live. Divine in Nature, LOC, Juliet 18, Don Israel. We got Next Israel, Sabadia Banyamyan, Calibwe T, Yafe Israel, Black Toya. Let's see, Eliab Ban Gad, DP, right? Salakia. K-Rock the Don, Brother Azariah, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in throughout the spirit, Lord willing, right? The topic of this code cut is something that's extremely vital. And Salakia for the tardiness, right? Salakia for the tardiness. This is a topic that's extremely vital. I mean, it's necessary as we come back as a nation, right? We are not coming back as individuals per se. We're coming back as a nation. Yahweh Shema Shah is gathering an entire nation of people, right? And the nation begins within the households, and the nation begins within its families, and the nation begins with fathers, it begins with husbands, and it begins with brothers. This is not disregarding mothers, wives, and sisters, but this is for the sons of Israel, right? So this is for brothers to learn how to be a better father according to scripture, how to be a better husband, and how to be a better brother, man. And this is how you build a nation. You start a nation with the men, right? They're not Yahweh Shema Shai say, unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. So this message primarily to the sons of Israel. Like we brought up before, anytime that you see that word children of Israel or those words children of Israel, it's really referred to as the sons of Israel because the Bible in a masculine sense, right? Let's go to Exodus real quick. Let's prove that. Get a quick account of that, right? Exodus 1:1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. So the Lord is dealing with men and their households. The men in the households is the foundation of us as a people, right? And your household consists of your wife, your children, your grandchildren, your inheritance. Now, when you go into this word children, it's not talking about little girls and little boys at recess playing tag, right? The word children, remember the Bible is written in Hebrew. So there are certain words that you must know in order to get a better understanding on the scriptures. So that word is bond. It says ben, but it's bond, right? Bond or banium, which means sons. So that word children of Israel is actually sons of Israel, right? Son, grandson, child, member of a group, son, male, child, youth, young men, sons, people of a nation. So it's dealing with the sons of Israel as a nation, right? Now the women and children are included within that because the woman is made in the image of the man, right? Let's get that. Right, let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. Let's prove that real quick. Right, 1 Corinthians chapter 11:3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is the Most High. So there's order. Yahweh, right? And Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh Shai, right? He is a man, a king of kings. And then you have the earthly man, and then you have woman. Now I'm gonna jump down. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 7. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, For as much as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man. So when you get deep into it, the man, and you may have people say, well, that's sexist, right? That's misogynistic. That's not, you're down putting the woman. We're not down putting the woman. You know, just because we show the true essence, for lack of better terms, and the purpose of man, does not mean you're downplaying woman. This is just scripture, right? This is just scripture. For as much as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man, right? So man is the glory of God, woman is the glory of man, right? Now, being that we are the image and glory of the Most High, there's a standard that we are that's expected of us, man, that we have to meet. There are expectations. There are things that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai requires of you as a man. And this is really, like I said, for fathers, brothers that may become fathers in time to come, because as a nation, I mean, you got brothers, like it's here in Exodus, the first chapter. I mean, the children of Israel multiplied, multiplied, and multiplied, right? The more they afflicted them, the more they grew, right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. So the more that we get afflicted, you had a brother that got choked out, you have people that get lynched, you have people that get shot by the police, you have people that die in prison, you have people that die by our own people, stray bullets, drive-bys, robbery, assault, all manner of evil on the earth. The more that we get afflicted as a people, you would think the population would decrease, but it says the more they multiplied and grew, right? So we're growing as a nation, man. We are growing as a people. And even in this truth, you have sons and daughters of Israel being born every day, man. It seems as though every time you look on social media or you talk to a brother or you see, everybody has sons and daughters, man. And we have to know, look, with these children, how are we supposed to conduct ourselves? Because you may have said, okay, well, look, I've had children before I've been in the truth. No, you didn't, right? If you understand what I'm saying, you're a new man, right? So yeah, you may have biologically had children, but you're not the man who had those children when you were in the world, man. You're a new man. So you have to learn how to be a father according to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Not a father according to Uncle Phil, or a father according to I don't know what his name was on Family Matters, or a father according to whoever that you grew up, Cliff Huxtable, man. Those are the earthly fathers that men growing up had to look up to, man. You know, but you're supposed to be a father and a new man according to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? The Lord said, old things are passed away. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 5, right? 17. Let's get this. So again, you have to learn how to be a husband and a father and a brother according to this truth. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 16. Wherefore, henceforth, know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Hamashiach after the flesh, yet now henceforth know we him no more. So your old man should be passed away. That's what it's saying. You shouldn't know the Lord according to the flesh, right? Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Because you may have, again, learned how to be a father according to the world, right? You may have learned how to be a father according to your father, who is not of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Now, he may have done things that may have been so-called ethically right or morally right, because the Lord did say that we do things in the spirit. Greatly paraphrased of Romans, the 2nd chapter. We do by nature the things contained in the law. So it's in our spirit to discipline our children. It's in our spirit to whip our children or beat them or do things that are according to scripture, but we don't actually know the precepts on how we're supposed to deal with them. We just do things in the spirit. You can't just do things in the spirit. You have to be justified by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So yeah, you have children now, but you're a new man. And those children are your children according to the new you. And the new you has to understand that your old things are passed away. Now, you may have done things that coincide with the scriptures now, and very well, you'll learn how to perfect it. Or you may have done things according to the word, and you have to change those things, man. You're a new creature now. You're a new father, a new husband. Because you have brothers that have been married and with their woman in the world, and they both came into the truth together. Well, she's not married to the man that you used to be. She's married to the man that you're supposed to be in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right? So that's why all things are become new, right? All things is talking about your behavior, demeanor, characteristics, mannerisms, language, communication, thoughts, right? These things become new in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Verse 18, and all things are of the Most High, who hath reconciled us to himself by Yahweh HaMashiach, and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation. Right? So these things are of the Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, who has put the Spirit on particular men to reconcile you back to the Heavenly Father through his Son, Yahweh Shah. Right? So the first thing I want to go on, I just want to touch on being a better a father, right? Because again, we're made in the image and glory of the Heavenly Father. Right? Now, the Lord did say, right, for brothers, right, Matthew 23 and 9. Let me get this real quick. And call no man your father upon earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. So we all have one Father, right? We have one Father, which is Yahweh himself, Bashim Yahushua. Now, in that time of Yahweh Shai and the apostles, you had these heavy, flattering titles given to earthly men. Rabbi, master, father. That's like these Catholic priests. They call these men father. That's what it's talking about, right? Father, I have sinned, right? You're in that nasty hot box with Father Hands, man, who's longing and doing God knows what to himself, and that other side of that box as he listens to the voice of an adolescent boy. So that's what the Most High is speaking about the hypocrisy and the lewdness of these titles, right? Now, it would be a contradiction because it says in other accounts that we're going to get into about honor your father and your mother, right? So you want to get that right in the spirit and make sure you understand the context of why Yahweh Shah was saying particular things. Now, let's actually go up, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, right? We're going to start with some fundamental precepts, and then we're going to kind of go down into some accounts. Right now, there are men that are our fathers, earthly fathers, what they call the fathers of promise. Right, the fathers of promise are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. Now, when you go to Abraham, this is Genesis chapter 18, and I'm gonna start at verse 17. It reads, "And the Lord said," because you have examples. Again, you don't have to look up earthly. You don't have to watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and see how Uncle Phil dealt with Will Smith. Okay, he took Will Smith in. He kind of, he taught him how to do this. And no, man. Right? You don't have to sit there and watch, like I said, Cliff Huxtable, man. I see how Hellman, Felicia Rashad, whatever her name was, and dealt with Theo. Okay, Theo, graduated high school. Okay, we're going to teach Theo how to be a man. He didn't show Theo. No, none of these people that you watched on the media was made in the image of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua as a new man. They were following a script written by Amalekite. These Amalekites was writing these scripts on Hollywood with the intentions of trying to portray a particular image and instill that on Israel, man. But it's not of the Lord. So you have to go to these accounts and see what our earthly fathers did, man, and pattern yourself as a man after what Abraham did, after what Isaac did, after what Jacob did, and many other righteous men, right? Noah, Job, etc., right? And the Lord, and ultimately the Heavenly Father himself. And the Lord says, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And we read this precept all the time, and we're going to keep reading it because the Most High had favor on Abraham. He was actually called the friend of God, right? I believe that's in James. Let me open up another blue letter, right? Let's get another blue letter and go to James, the second chapter, right? So like, let's go to James chapter 2, and I want to actually get that account of Abraham indeed being called the friend of the Most High, right? This James chapter 2 and verse 23. And the scripture was fulfilled, which said, Abraham believed the Most High, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God, right? He was called the friend of God. Now there's a, I'm not going to get into this precept, right, that I'm thinking of. I may get it later, but the point is Abraham was called a friend of the Lord. Now, when you go, I'm going to actually get it, right? Let's go to the Apocrypha. So again, the Most High has these examples set up for you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. I believe I want the 8th chapter, and I want to go to verse, I believe I want 6, right? It's like Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7. That's what I want. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, right? And that's a heavy title right there, to be called the friend of the Most High. Not a friend of Rel or Dre, but a friend of your creator. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 28. It's lucky. Wisdom of Solomon 7 to 27. And being but one, she, meaning wisdom, that's the she can do all things. And remaining in herself, she maketh all things new. So wisdom makes you a new man of the Lord. And in all ages, entering into holy souls, she maketh them friends of the Most High and prophets. For the Most High loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. So the Most High is only dealing with the brothers or the nation that dwells with wisdom. And wisdom makes you a friend of the Most High. So let's see the wisdom that Abraham had, right? Going back to Genesis 18. For I know him that he will command his children. So a wise father is going to command his children. He's not going to ask his children what the plans are for the day. All right, what are we reading today? Or should we fast this year? Do y'all feel like keeping the Passover? Do y'all feel like going over the scriptures? Do y'all feel like being in the spirit? No, they command their children in righteousness, right? And his household after him. So they have the authority, right? They have taken on the spirit of authority. And you have to accept that authority in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let's pull up the definition of authority, because that's somebody that commands something. Actually, let's go to the definition of command, right? Command, give an authoritative order, direct, instruct, adjure, charge, govern. So a man like Abraham, to this, would govern his house. Look at this definition: dominate a strategic position from a superior height. Be in a strong, this is the third definition, right? Be in a strong enough position to have or secure something. So you want to know how to direct your household, right? When you have an authoritative order, there's really nothing that can top that or trump what you say. That's like a general. You got different ranks in the army, right? You have a 5-star, let's say you have a 5-star general, and then you have a sergeant. The sergeant says we want to go right, and take them down from this flank. And the general says, no, we're going to go south, right? Who gets the final say so? The sergeant can't buck up. If he buck up, now I've never been in the army, but I'm pretty sure there's a word or a term for the consequence of you bucking up against a higher rank. They don't play that in the army, man. Right? See, these Edomites, they honor one another. They have something that the average Negro and family structure doesn't have. They honor one another and respect one another. So a man is supposed to, a father is supposed to command his household with authority. That doesn't mean you're screaming, and I'm gonna get that being a lion in your house. You're quarterbacking this thing, man. You're drawing up the playbook. You're the GM, coach, and quarterback. And whatever you say, go. And your commands have to be according to what's written. And it has to be in wisdom. right? And again, just to get a just balance, because the brothers see that, say, okay, yeah. And you start kicking the door down, man, and being a lion in the house and discouraging people. And then you may have brothers that have grievous commandments in the household, man. You don't want to have grievous, oppressive commandments. No smiling when I come in from work. Well, brother, that's grievous, man. You know, the Lord said the joy of the Lord is your strength. You have brothers that have extreme, grievous burdens, and it puts a spirit on the house, man. And that respect that you're trying so hard for goes out the window because you're not doing things in moderation, right? You're not doing things in moderation. You're just being a Rehoboam, right? If you don't know who Rehoboam is, go read 1 Kings, the 12th chapter. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and 30. Be not as a lion in thy house, nor frantic among thy servants. So you don't want to be punching holes in the wall, flipping tables, throwing plates, and roaring at everybody. Neither do you want to be frantic in your house. You don't want to have a put the spirit of anxiety and nervousness in your house, man. You want to take control and carry yourself well. Because if you get frantic, if let's say you come up short for your bills, or you get jammed up at work and they fire you wrongfully, or your car break down. If you start getting nervous and frantic, that spirit is going to fall upon your wife, then it's going to rest upon your children. Now you got a spirit of crying and depression in your household, man. You don't want to be frantic, neither do you want to be the opposite and be a lion in your house. So these commands to his children were done in wisdom. All right, what are some of these commands? Let's go to Deuteronomy 6. So a man of the Lord, to be a better father and to learn how to be a father, you have to learn how to accept that Yahweh Bashmel Shah has given you authority. You have been given authority. This is not a job. Okay, you're going to make you the team lead or the supervisor, and you have authority from God. And with that power, the Lord said, to whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Right? Let's get that real quick in Luke the 12th chapter. Right? 47 on down. Right? Luke 12 and 47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. Right? But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. Now here's the point. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. You see that? So the Most High has given you much. He has given you a wife. You may have children. You've been given the daughters of Zion. You've been given the sons of Israel, more precious than fine gold. You care for earthly gold. You care for carnal things. A wife is like a ruby, a possession. Your children are like olive plants. Right? When you go to Psalms, right? I want to open up another blue letter. You have been given a great possession. You have to take authority for your possession and wisdom as a father, making sure they're built up in the spirit, that they're on a particular, they're reading, you're praying together, you're teaching them, you're being patient with them, you're correcting their wrongdoings, you're humble, right? You're working, you're doing everything it takes, man. I had a precept I was just thinking about. Lord willing, it comes back to me. Oh, it's like I remember through the spirit. I believe that's Psalms 144, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Let's see if this is what I want. Okay, this Psalms chapter 1, and there's another precept I want, but I want this. Right? Psalms 144 and 12. That our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace. So the Lord likens our sons as plants grown up in their youth. So you have to water your sons. This is what Abraham did. When it says command his children, he knew these things, man. He had to water his son with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? Get him in the spirit of praying. Y'all should be praying together, man. Put that zeal of the Most High in them. They should know the name of Yahweh. They should know the name of Yahweh Shai. It shouldn't be some big secret on who the Most High is in the house, man. You're the only one that know about the Most High. Everybody's sitting around doing God knows what. You just duck off. I gotta go use the bathroom. No, brother, you're praying to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, but you're scared to tell your family, man. Don't be the scared father, man. These are plants. If you don't water them, they're going to wither away and die of thirst and lack of light if you don't give them that light. See, men are likened, or the son rather is likened to a man in the context of the scriptures in a masculine sense. And a moon is likened to a woman, right? And both play, believe it or not, the sun and the moon both play a pivotal part on the life and growth of a plant. Sun more than the moon, all right? So the moon helps with the tide and the water and the pulling of the tides to nourish the soil that the plant may grow, and the sun gives the light, right? So a father's likened it to a son, and you have to give them that light, and you also have to give them that water as a husbandman, right? What does a husbandman do? Well, the word husband, let's go to the etymology. Right, I'm kind of going back into kind of doing both husband and father right now, but I just want to get this real quick. Right, let's go to the word husband. Right, husband, male head of a household, master of a house, householder. Let's see, from hus meaning house, and let's see, from bondi, which means to dwell, to exist, or to grow. Right? So a husbandman, let's see if I could do a husbandman. Okay, let's see if they have that. Husbandman. Right? Check this out. So a husbandman, it says the head of family as a farmer, tiller of the soil. You see that? So that's what a husbandman is. Husbandry is when you deal with the agriculture or horticulture, right? You deal with the growing of crops and the growing of plants. Now your plants are your sons, your offspring. So again, you have to make sure they're receiving light and water. You're commanding them the will of the Most High. You were given the plants, the garden, a vineyard. And your daughters, for men to have daughters, are as the cornerstones, polished after the similitude of a palace. So they should be glowing and radiant. When you polish something, you remove dirt, you remove dust, you remove blemishes, and it shows a shine. Really, it shows a reflection, and you should see yourself in that stone. So you should be able to see the image of you within your children, within your daughters, within your sons, man. Right? So that's what it says. So these are the possessions that the Most High is giving you, man. When it says unto whomsoever much is given, it's not always talking about the in-depth breakdowns. Right? It's not always talking about the dark secrets of the Lord. You were given plants, cornerstones, sons and daughters of Zion, a wife, a possession, right? Unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. So the Lord expects big things out of you, man. You got a lot on your plate, and you have to accept it. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So you have been given these things. The Most High is going to ask you to take care of these things, to command your children according to the law. This is what fathers do. They command and teach their wives and children the scriptures, right? Because you got some men, all they do is teach their sons how to do God knows what, man, right? Play the video game. This is how you hold your arm out, right? This is how you follow through. Teach them how to play basketball. I saw this video on, it may have been, I think it was Twitter, one of these social media sites. And this father, from the time that this child was, I believe, 6 months, had him playing baseball, hitting off a T-ball. Then they showed him at 8 months. Then they showed him at 1 year, then 2 years, then 3 years. And all he was doing was playing baseball. And all I thought was, hey, look, children are like a sponge. right? That's what they say. Children's mind are like a sponge, and they begin to learn and retain things earlier in their life than later. So this is the perfect, the Most High has created it in the perfect way where you have the ability to instill wisdom and knowledge and understanding within your children so they can't buck up against it because they don't know any better. And it's at the perfect time for them to be able to receive it and absorb it. And you have to take full investment in this time that the Most High is giving you, right? If we look up, let's actually look this up. When do children, let's see, when do children, Slakia, retain I don't, let's see, information. I don't want to do we'll do memories. Let's see, memories, and we'll also do information, right? Okay, about 2 years. So they start kind of remembering stuff at about 2 years old, man. Right? That's one source. Let's see, see that? Kids began forming explicit childhood memories around at 2 years old, but the majority are still implicit memories until they're about 7. So you may say they're 2, they don't need to know anything. Will they ever know? It's about the spirit, man. You know, just because they're 2 don't mean they don't have a spirit. Or should I say rather, you may think that well, they're 2, I don't have to take care of their spirit. They don't know anything. They won't remember this. Well, even the scholars are putting that out there. It's in the scriptures, man. You know, so you want to start molding them after the image of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, young from the jump. So they should be knowing about Yahweh. They should be Yahweh. They should be practicing his name, Yahweh Shai. I show my daughter images of what the Lord may have looked like, man. And I tell her, that's Yahweh. That's Yahweh Shai. And if I show her an image, a dark image of the Lord, right? Of course, we don't know what the Lord actually looked like, but she'll say that's Yahweh. That's Yahweh Shai. And if I show her an image of white Jesus, she's not going to know who the hell that is, man. Right? Outside of him being a stranger. Right? You may say, well, I don't, well, what about so-and-so? I mean, brothers, you're supposed to instill this information into them, man. You're commanded to do so. There's more commandments than not eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, and growing your beard out and teaching that camp, man. You know? So let's go back to this. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. So the first step of being a father is knowing how to deal with the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has given you. Because what makes you a father? The children that the Lord has given you, man. Right? Not because you're some big Catholic priest doing God knows what with prepubescent boys in the middle of the night. Right? Let me get this real quick. Salakia. Right? Let me get this up. All right. Salakia. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse. Let's start at 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Now, this is a commandment. This is not optional. Leviticus, like I said, Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14, Leviticus 19, Numbers 15 to 38 on down, Exodus 20 and 8, and those are not the only commandments. You're not even technically. Straight up and down, you're in sin if you're not following this commandment. This is a commandment. When we say there's over 600 commandments, this is one of those. You're commanded to teach them diligently, meaning often, laboriously, teaching your children the commandments of the Most High. They don't have to be the in-depth laws about you have to teach them Leviticus 25. Okay, you got a house that's they're 3 years old. You're showing them about a house and how you deal with the house and the inheritance if it's in a city with city walls, or if it's in a village, or you're dealing with them and you're showing them the laws of a devotion and they may not have to know that. You may teach them simple things according to your discretion and wisdom, right? So you teach them diligently to your children, because children learn by repetition, right? The more that you go over something with a child, it's going to stick with them. So this is a commandment, and you have to talk about it. It says, and shall talk of them with thou citizen of thine house. So you're not just sitting on your phone scrolling all the time, man. And you're gonna have your downtime in your house, you relax, whatever, whatever. But guess what, man? When you're in your house, guess what should be coming out your mouth? The commandments. You might throw a little quiz, pop quiz, right? You don't want to make it burdensome, right? You can make it exciting, man. There are even activities that I know that sisters have created to make it exciting for children to want to learn the Lord, man. Because sometimes when you put that burdensome spirit on somebody, it makes them not want to do it. And they're just looking for any release to escape. That's what happened to these what they call the preacher daughters, man. These preacher daughters, they be doing God knows what, man. Right? They be the biggest ones freaking off in the night. They're looking for a way out because they have been overburdened by Christianity, and their spirit don't resonate with it, and the majority of them are Eves, and the first opportunity they get to freak off, they take that. Same thing with these Amish people. You got these Amish people who get one night of lust, right? I can't remember. I'm not going to look it up. Well, we'll look it up, right? Salakia. All right, let me actually look this up. Amish night out. Right, they get one night out. I don't know what it's called. It's called, see that, Rump Springer. It says the Amish, as subsect of the Anabaptist Christian movement, intentionally segregate themselves from other communities as a part of their faith. Right, from Amish youth, the Rump Springer normally begins at 16 and ends when the youth chooses either to be baptized in the Amish church or to lead the community. So a lot of those Amish people, man, when they hit 16, they're out. They're gone. They actually give them the ultimatum: do you want to serve their version of God, or do you want to go in the world? Right? Well, that's not what this truth is about, man. Right? Your children should have joy in the Lord, man. So you have to come up with a way, because your children, you have to come up with a way that's best for them to understand this truth. It reads, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, right? You might pray with them, pray before y'all all go to bed, right? Or you may, go over a chapter. And when thou risest up, man. So this is a commandment. And thou shalt bind them and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they should be as frontlets between thine eyes. When you keep it in your mind and you do the works with your hand, right? That's what it's talking about. So these are the commandments that Abraham knew, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter, right? Learn how to be a father. Father takes authority to guide his household to Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, right? Because remember, you're really a priest. You're the mediator, right, of your house, man, right? You're responsible. I'm thinking of a good amount of precepts. So like here, I want to go to 1 Corinthians 7. I'm going to go to Ecclesiastes 27. Then there was another precept I wanted to get into as well, right? This 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and I want to start at verse Salakia, right? Let's start at, right? Salakia, bear with me. Right? See that? All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes, actually 1 Corinthians 7. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Bear with me. And let's start at verse 14. It reads, for the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband, else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. So a husband could sanctify his wife who may not believe, and vice versa. And the children can become clean and holy through the spirit that the Heavenly Father puts on a believer. And in this context, it's the husband, right? So if the husband is sanctified and he's in his truth, the Lord could put that spirit on his household, right? You have entire households that were saved, right? Let's get an example of that. Let's go to Acts, the 16th chapter, right? This Acts chapter 16 and verse 31. And they said, believe on the Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, and thou should be saved and thy house. See that? Now the wife wasn't around. The children wasn't around. This was told to this man. If you believe, you're going to be saved and your house could be saved. Because you represent your house. You're in the image of the Most High. Everybody else is in the image of you. Your wife is a direct reflection of you. Your children are a direct reflection of the upbringing in the house, man. You know? And even Jake know that. Jake know their children represent them. That's when y'all go over somebody's house growing up, they give you a speech, and they give you a whole rundown. Don't be asking for no food. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't use the bathroom. Jake come up with all types of stuff, man. Right? Growing up, because they don't want you to act the fool in the house, man. Because it's not about you. It's about how your folks gonna look. You know? So they know that the children are a reflection of them. But the Most High is letting you know that even a wife is a reflection of the husband. And if a father is moving in the spirit, his wife may not be as strong as him, or she may be, God, only the Most High knoweth. Nevertheless, your household can be saved and delivered through that man's righteousness. Right? Verse 32. And they spake unto him the word of the Lord and to all that were in his house. Right? Let's get another account. Let's go to Acts, the 10th chapter. Right? So these are examples of an entire house being saved, man, because of the father's sanctification, right? So you may say, well, how come my wife always out the spirit? How come my children are out of order? Because brother, you're always out the spirit, right? Don't you know? Can't you tell by now that you are responsible for your house and you invite those spirits in? Now we're not saying that you can't have wicked children. You could very well have wicked children. Absalom was off. Right? Yeah, we have wicked children. We get that. We understand that. You have wicked women. Right? But ultimately, it falls on the man at the end of the day anyway. Right? On what type of spirit he invites within his household. Right? So don't be surprised if your house out of order, if you're freaking off, man. If you're sitting up there watching God knows what and lewd sights, if you're always in the flesh but never in the spirit, if you're slothful, right? If you're dealing with all types of things that you don't want to fight, you just want to entertain your lust, then don't be surprised when the Most High send these spirits in your house and cause all types of discord and confusion, man. You know? So let's go to Ecclesiastes, Salakia. I'm jumping the gun. This is the book of Acts, chapter 18, and verse, I'm going to get straight to the point. All right, let's get straight to the point. Right, this Cornelius in his house. Acts 10 and 30. Slakia for the scroll. Let me get straight to the point. Right. Slakia. All right, this Acts 10. I'm gonna get straight to the point. And 30 and 46. 47. Can any man forbid that these should not be baptized, which have received the Holy Spirit as well as we? And he commanded them. The them is Cornelius and his household. So Cornelius was a devout and upright man, but the Most High had mercy on Cornelius, and his whole household ended up getting baptized because he was a devout man. So this is why everybody, it says, and he commanded them to be baptized in the name of the Lord. Then prayed they him to tarry certain days. So when you go read about it, right? It's Acts 10 and verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea named called Cornelius, Salakia, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man, and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. So he was a devout man, He feared the Most High with all his house. He gave alms to the people and prayed. And that's why the Most High had his household be baptized and be delivered. You know, let's go to Ecclesiastes 27. So you have a heavy lot, men, right? You have a heavy lot in this thing. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. You have to ask yourself, is the spirit of Yahweh Shai in your house at all times? Or is it just lewdness and disorganization and folly going on at all times and madness and no direction? Or is there structure, maybe a schedule? Is there some type of reading going on? Do y'all pray together? Is there a day with a household fast together? Is there a day, like, what's going on in your house, brother? Or is it just every man for himself in this thing, man? Ecclesiastes chapter 27:3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. So if you don't hold yourself diligently, like Cornelius, like Job, like other men, and the Most High is going to cut you down, man. And your house is going to get overthrown. So the Lord may put the spirit on your woman to do bugged out things. Now your children are out of order, out of nowhere. Now you and your woman arguing. Now your children bucking up against you. Now somebody's sick. Right? Somebody keep getting sick in the house. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Well, brother, you're not holding yourself diligent. You're just sitting around eating stuffed crust pizza all day, man. Deep dish. You refuse to read. You don't examine yourself. You stop praying. So don't be surprised when the Most High put these spirits in your house to overthrow it. And that's a heavy judgment. You see a lot of brothers whose houses be out of order because those brothers aren't holding themselves diligently, man. And that's the first thing you got to look at, man. You got to look at when your house is out of order in their spirits, you got to ask yourself, well, where am I at in this thing? Have I been holding myself diligently? And if the answer is kind, that very well, you could be diligent, right? And it may be spirits on them as a judgment, or it could be spirits on them because you're not holding yourself diligent. You know, and that comes through discernment and through experience. But often this is written, or often that's what it is, man. That's why this is written. Because men don't hold themselves diligently and their house get overthrown. Right? Didn't David commit adultery and his whole kingdom got overthrown by Absalom? That's a perfect example. David went off and committed adultery. His son died and his house was overthrown by his sons, man. You know, first by Absalom, then by Adonijah. So, you know, you want to have that spirit in your house. You don't want to have this particular spirit where anything goes, man. Let's actually get that. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 1. And then I want to go to 2 Samuel. 1 Samuel. Okay, it's like I want 1 Samuel, I believe that's 11. Bear with me. I want to get this account where David, boy, man, I gotta get this account. Right? Now there's a scripture where it says David, here it is, right? This 1 Kings 1-5. Then Adonijah, that was one of the sons of David, right? The son of Haggith exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared him chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. And his father, here's the point. His father was David. And his father had not displeased him at any time, and saying, why hast thou done so? And he was a very goodly man, and his mother bare him after Absalom. So what does this mean? His father had not displeased him at any time. I mean, his father never corrected him. Right? He let Adonijah do whatever he wanted to do. David didn't hold himself diligently when it came to correcting his sons. From the time they were born to the time that they were adults. He had these wives, and he didn't have that type of structure where he was teaching Adonijah the ordinances of the Most High. He never displeased him. But that's my boy. Boys will be boys. Right? That's what they say. Boys will be boys. And they condone ungodly behavior through philosophical cliches, man. Coming from the Esau. Where in the scriptures does it say boys will be boys? Let me type that in. Let me see. Maybe that's the book of, right? Let's see. Boys, okay, will be boys. Okay, I put that slash in there. That might have been it. I think I put that slash where they might have thrown it off. Boys be boys. Let's see if that's in the Bible. Right? Because I can be, okay, no, I'm not wrong, right? We're not wrong. There are no concordance results for boys and will and be and boys in the KJV. What is this? One result in the NIV. What is this madness? Let's actually see. Damn NIV. Okay, they don't have it like that. All right. But nevertheless, let's go back to this. 1 Kings 1:6. And his father had not displeased him at any time, and saying, why hast thou done so? And you have to say that. Right? And yeah, also, why haven't you read? Why aren't you praying? We're fasting. Why aren't you fasting? Why did you do this? Why did this happen? Don't do that. You can't be a Mr. Nice Guy all the time in your house, man. Well, I don't want to, like they got these modern age parents, man. These modern age, well, I just let them be free and they discover themselves and whatever. No, you can't. We're not Edomites, man. Right? This is not, what book was that, man? I remember growing up on the Rugrats, they had this book that Stu and his women would read, man, how to raise the damn Rugrats, man. They would open the book, it was Dr. something, where Dr. So-and-so said we should do this. We're not listening to that, man. Right? It was like Dr. Lipschwitz or something. Some Amalekite book that they will open up and say, okay, well, the book said this. And no, we're not dealing with these books written by the enemy. Correct your son, man. And Jake really don't do that timeout spirit, man. Right? Hey, if you gotta hit your child, you gotta hit your child, man. You know? In righteousness. David never corrected his son. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. Let's go to 1 Samuel. Oh, the one, it's like the brother just hit me up. Dr. Lipschitz. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's off, man. The what? Dr. Lipschitz. Right? We're not dealing with Dr. Lipschitz and his philosophy. Right? Let's go to 1 Samuel, the 3rd chapter, man. Right? 1 Samuel, bear with me, chapter 3 and verse 11. And the Lord said to Samuel, behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that heareth it shall tingle. And that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. So the Lord is about to get up with Eli concerning his house. Not concerning Eli. It ain't just about Eli, right? It's about Eli's house. So let's read on. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth. So a lot of brothers, there are things going on in your house, man. There are things that should not be done. Your wife isn't praying, man. Right? Your daughter, you have situations where you have brothers who let their wife who may not really be on fire or be in the truth, kind of make the son kind of put a dress on, or the daughter could wear pants, or she's sneaking them pork, and you know it, but you don't want to say nothing because you don't want to upset your woman. Things ain't right, but you bite your tongue for peace. I don't want to start. I don't get into it. I don't really want to ruffle no feathers. She gonna get an attitude, but I really, I ain't get. Jake, come on now. She ain't gonna really give me none if I say something. Brother, we're not thinking about lewdness, man. Well, she gonna hear me sleep on the couch. Hey, guess what, man? This is not the world. That's TV stuff. This is real right here, man. And that's where they get this from. They get that stuff from TV. This is this off limits, right? This is on lock. And they take the key and put on top of the refrigerator, man. You know? Oh, you like, oh boy, jeez. Gas is off. Well, all right. Well, you can have whatever you want. No, we're not dealing with that, man. And if you know something is off in your house, you're obligated by the Most High to speak up and say something. You got to be bold, man. Boldness is a spirit that brothers have to have, man, in your house. Yeah, you got to ruffle sometimes. Sometimes you got to ruffle feathers. Sometimes you got to say stuff for compassion. Say, look, this was like this, this was like this. But sometimes you got to be bold, man. Right? John chapter 7 and 26. Here's Yahweh Shai. But lo, he speaketh boldly, and they say nothing unto him. Do the rulers know indeed that this is the very Hamashiach? So they said Yahweh Shah spoke boldly, and then nobody said a damn thing to him, because he taught with authority. Right? That's the scribes. Your household is with authority. Hey, look, we're reading. Right? You don't have to slam nothing, right? Or slam the table. Hey, but hey, look, we're reading. We're going to read the book of Genesis, for the next 2 weeks. All right. We're going to read the first 5 chapters. Look, I get off at God knows when, when I get in, let's make sure we're eating dinner, at this time. Look, we're going to read these chapters, 3 chapters a night. All right. Get the kids together. Make sure she got a hair wrap on. Make sure that, whatever. And we're going to go over these scriptures. But I don't want, no, look, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. Right? Now, I'm gonna go on. Let me read on, because I was going to say something, but I'm gonna refrain myself, right? Because some, I'm saying some sisters are not all. Quick disclaimer through experience, right? Some sisters they want you to take that bold step, man. They want you to be bold. They're looking. If she's a righteous sister, she wants you to take authority. I'm not talking about a worldly proud sister. I'm talking about a righteous sister who fears God is looking for a man that is not afraid of her, that does not idolize sex, that does not put flesh over the spirit, who's going to be bold when it's time to be bold, who's going to put his foot down and have things in order, but in wisdom, not as a lion. Keep that in mind, man. Because they're going to respect that at the end of the day anyway. They may put the front on, whatever, but deep down in the spirit, they know that, look, this man is serious. He's serious about this. And the Most High, he's going to honor that, man. Honor your boldness and put the spirit in them to love that, man. See, we're not worried about flesh and blood and emotion. We're worried about the Most High, who's the Father of spirits, who will put the spirit on your wife to submit to you because you have stepped up to submit to him. Right? Now, let's go back to Eli. Don't be worried about emotions and attitudes. You do what's right, brother, and the Most High is going to be with you. Keep that in mind. Don't serve nobody but Yahweh Basham. So let's read about Eli again. 1 Samuel 3 and 13. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. You see that? He didn't remove them from office, right? He didn't remove them from that priest office. So they got jammed up, his whole house, forever, because of the father not being a wise father. Too nice. No correction. Just worried about himself. This is not just about you being on fire. Right? It's not just about you. I read, no, what about your woman, man? What about your children? Hey, don't you know in the law, well, when you go to 1 Timothy, there are even certain offices that you can only have if your wife is in order and your children are in order, right? Let's get that. This 1 Timothy 3 and 1, Salakia. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. Let's see what the Most High requires of a bishop. I'm gonna jump down, right? Let's see, Salakia, verse, Salakia, bear with me, verse 4. Here's the office of a bishop: one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. So you couldn't be a bishop if your children are out of order. Yeah, you may know the scriptures, you may be diligent, you may be zealous, but if your children are leaping off the walls, throwing food on a feast day, causing all hell to break loose, fighting the kids and disrespecting you, you cannot be a bishop, no matter what you know, because you don't know what's the most important. The most important thing is taking care of your house, man. So your children have to be in subjection. You cannot have an office if you cannot rule over your children. You cannot be over a congregation, over a bishop, a bishop or a deacon if your children are off. They don't know the name of the Most High, right? Because that's a heavy thing. Like, when you look at a brother like, man, how was his house, man? Wow, yeah, that brother house always in order, man. Every time I see this brother house, they got the fringes on, the dress on, that they're in order, they're setting an example. Man, this brother has a beautiful house. Not this brother so mighty and zealous, and then his family come to the feast day, and his woman got a damn pants on, man. Well, I'm worried, I'm just trying, Yeah, but the brother puts on like he's so on fire, but he can't even, he's scared to tell his woman to put a dress on. I don't really want to make her. And you find out that brother really not who he is, man. So the apostles was deep. They said, no, it ain't just about this, man. Let me see his house, man. Who rolled with him, man? Right? Well, his wife and kids, what kind of spirit do they be in? Let's read on. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High? Right? Let's read on. I'm going to jump down with a deacon. Verse 8, likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre. Here's another trait of the bishop. Even so must their wives be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things. So you can't even be a deacon if your wife out of order. Your wife has to be grave. You have to show her how to be, what that means to be grave. Right? Let's pull up this definition of grave. Right? We're going to the Greek. These are the traits of the men of the Lord. The men of the Lord are husbands and fathers who instruct them of godly behavior. Simnos, right? Here's that Greek word, or simnos. Let's play it. August, venerable, reverent, right? To be venerated for character, honorable, right? So she has to be an honorable woman, meaning she has to have a blameless name. Nobody should bring up a false report of your wife. She's not the one that's always drunk at the feast day, starting a fight, gossiping and backbiting, right? It says not slanderers. We know what slander is, raising false reports. Now, the word slander is diabolos or diabolos, right? I may be going to the wrong word, but let me go into this diabolos. See that? Well, really, diabolos, see that? It says devil. And as diabolos, it says prone to slander, because another word or another characteristic of Satan is to be an accuser, right? That's another one of his titles, the accuser. So, and they're predominantly false accusations. So your wife can't be a slanderer. If your wife is a slanderer, no, you cannot be a deacon. Right? What else about this brother's wife have to be? Not double-tongued. Okay, hold on, Salakia. Not slanderous, sober, that's spiritual and physical, and faithful in all things. For they that have used the office of a deacon well purchased to themselves a good degree and great boldness in the faith which is in Hamashiach Yahushua. See that? Salakia. That's what happened last time. All right. So the men of the Lord, you're learning what the Most High expects of you as a father. What spirits your wife must have that you must improve and grow on. If she's not grave, you have to show her what it means to be grave. If she's a slanderer, you have to correct that. Double tongued, not honorable. It's up to you to show your wife according to the precepts why that's wrong behavior, Salakia, and show her righteous examples. Man, I'm not going to get every example, right? That's up to you, brother, to get your house in order, man. To study to see what these righteous women did to show you how to show your wife things in order and your children, right? Because I'm still going into being a better father, right? And we're just kind of getting this thing rolling. Let's go to the book of Genesis, right? Let's see how much time I got. All right. Okay, Con. Let's go to Genesis chapter 30 and verse 30. I'm gonna start at 29. And he said unto him, Thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. That's what Jacob said. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude. And the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And here's what he said. And now, when shall I provide for my own house also? You see that? That was Jacob's mentality. When am I going to provide for my own house? And a lot of brothers don't provide for their house as a father, man. Right? I mean, you're not paying rent and bills or mortgage. You're not working. You're just sitting around, man. The damn roof is collapsing, and you don't know how to do God knows what in the house, man. You're just your woman. She asks you to fix something, and you just sit around. You sleep all day. Can't open up a jar of damn salsa, man. Hold on, let me call the brother. Or let me get this brother. This brother's mighty, man. All right, he gonna open up the brother. Don't call another brother to come do it. Hey, your woman asks you to do it, man. Can you do this for me, King? I mean, let me call this brother. He a lot, brother. No, man. You supposed to provide for your own house, man. Your woman come to you. She was reading. I was reading Genesis. Genesis the 3rd chapter. What does it mean about the tree of life? Let's call this brother. Let him break it down to you. Hey, Shalom King, can you break the scriptures down to my woman? See, I've been trying to tell her, man. I've been trying to break it down to her. Here, you put him on speaker, man. You know? And well, look, sister, go to the book of Genesis, the 3rd chapter. They tell you, look, brother, leave the room. Give us some privacy. And you get up and go leave the room, man. And put your thumb in your mouth and watch the big game. And he's just breaking the scriptures down all to your woman. And she come back with a notepad full of notes. Provide for your own house spiritually, man. Provide for your own house physically. Don't be having a brother pay your rent all the time. Brother, can you cash out my woman the rent money? All right, here, I'll give you a number. First, let her know who you are. Say, Shalom, your brother Gabar. Right, Gabar Judah. That's my sample name. Brother Gabar Judah. And now you hitting your woman up. Shalom, Akwat, this is Gabar Judah. Your husband asked me to pay the rent. Here I go. What's your cash app? Here's $1,500 on me. Hey, nobody's gonna respect that, man. Hey, a woman of the Lord, she's gonna appreciate. I'm not talking about a worldly woman. A godly woman is gonna appreciate a hardworking husband. Right? Remember Jacob, there's an account when Jacob came out from the field, man. I'm gonna just type this in, right, for sake of time. Jacob came out from the field, and his woman, they it was down, man, in better terms, right? I may have spelled this wrong, right? Mandrake. Okay, let me just type this in, right? There's Genesis 30. Okay, let's go to Genesis, the 30th chapter. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 30 and verse, I'm gonna start at 15. It reads, I'm going to start at 14, right? This is Genesis chapter 30 and 14. And Reuben went in the days of the wheat harvest, right? Salakia, and found mandrakes in the field and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. Now, when you go into mandrakes, some say mandrakes are an aphrodisiac, right? If you don't know what it is, you're more than welcome to look it up, right? So Rachel said, give me those things. And she said unto her, is it a small thing that thou hast taken my husband? And wouldst thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, therefore, he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob, here's the point I want. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him. You know, after dawn, he came in from work, man. Right? He came in from working in the field. He wasn't out in the field stargazing. Probably came in, probably had like an axe on his hand or a sheep in the hand. And, you know, a woman like that, man, or a godly woman, they appreciate a hard-working man that provides for the house, man. That's reliable, that get things done, right? And Leah was probably looking like, man, look at this guy. So she went out to meet him. And what did she say when he came out from work? And said, thou must come in unto me. You see that? So, you know, it put a spirit, because the Lord said when a woman maintain her husband, she is full of reproach. Right? And I'm going to get that in Ecclesiastes, the 25th chapter, the verse 22, if I'm not mistaken. So she said, thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. Right? Now, is that what it's all about? No, that's not what it's all about. But that shows you in the spirit that when you're a man that provides for his house, put a spirit on your woman, man. Now, if Jacob was just sitting around lazy, doing God knows what, I mean, this one never went down, man. Jacob wasn't just a slothful man. A daughter of Zion don't respect that, right? It's exemplified in that verse. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 25, right? And these are examples, man. Right? This is so a father provides for his house. Ecclesiastes 25 and 22. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudency, and much reproach. And I would like to see what this verse says in another translation, right? Because some brothers have a hard time understanding that, right? So that's talking about if a woman is the calling the shots in the house, then it's going to put the spirit on this woman to kind of not respect them. See that? So right 25-22 out the GNT. A man is hurted by his wife. There is sure to be anger, arrogance, and humiliation. So you don't want to be you want to be the man that supports his wife, not the wife, or not a man who's supported by his wife. Right? The Lord is not dealing with the brother who sits at home and plays video games all day, man. And his wife, and he hold out his hand to ask for ice cream. He got his headset on, he in his boxers, talking stuff on NBA 2K, man, or whatever, the 2K live or whatever. Right? He playing video games. You get the point. When he got his boxers on, dirty boxers on for 5 days, cardboard pizza on the floor. He got hot Cheetos in his beard, man, crumbs in his beard. You know? Then comb his beard. Talking about, hey, babe. And she come in from work. She probably, well, I'm not going to go that far, but she come in, yes, bro. Can I have $20 for ice cream? And in her mind, listen, man, I got to deal with this little boy. But she'll say other one. In her mind, I got to deal with this damn boy, man. This ain't no man. Right? Then she opened up her little wallet. Here, Rel. Did you take the trash out today, Rel? Well, I was going to. Then she get up and leave. Right? Don't be Rel, man. Do not be real. Be the man that come in, who work, take care of his house, everything's paid on time to the best of your ability. We know we're in this captivity. You know, the lights stay on, the water stay running. She's protected. You a man of the Lord, man. This is how you deal with your children in righteousness. So that the scriptures show you how to be a man. Don't be the brother who's supported by his wife, man. Asking for $20 for ice cream, man. Cookies and cream. And more video games. You know? There's going to be anger in that relationship, man. Why is my wife angry at me? What did I do? Oh, I asked for ice cream. Well, brother, you're not supporting her. She wants to be taken care of. A woman just wants to feel loved, protected, man. Nourished by a man. You know? They don't want to be a man. A woman don't want to be a man. A woman want to be a woman. I don't care what who wrote that book, Think Like a Man, right? Steve Harvey. A true godly woman, I'll put that, keep saying that word, godly. A godly woman wants to be supported by her husband, wants to be taken care of. They'll respect that. Otherwise, it's going to be arrogance in the house. You ask your wife to do something, she say, shut up before I don't pay the light bill. And now you can't say nothing, man. Now she throwing that in. Look, I paid the rent in here. Who paid the water bill? Who paid the light bill? That's in my name, right? And now you got spirits all in the house, man. Right? So you want to make sure you're doing a Jacob. You coming out from the field, you working. You know, you may have to work an extra hour. You working that overtime if you need to. You know, you doing things in the house. Are you a man of the Lord, man? Right? Be a man of the Lord. Be like Jacob, who came out from the field that evening, and his woman said, "Thou must come in unto me." Right? Don't be the brother that come out from work and his woman say, because you don't do nothing in the house, or you a slothful man, right? And she asks you, can we talk to Brother Gabar Judah? I need to learn something today. Right? You don't want to be that brother, man. Let's go to the book, right? I have something else. I have some precepts I want to get into. Right? We're going back to being a father. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter. Right? Because remember, you know, a father's supposed to leave an inheritance. It was big in the ancient world, man. So if you didn't provide for your house, you're supposed to leave things for your children. Land, cattle, you know, gold, talents of silver, talents of gold, servants, handmaids, supposed to get that to your seed. And if you was a slothful man, and your whole generation would be rooted out, huh? Our fathers were different in the ancient world. Right? I wanted to go to Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 23. Hast thou children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Right? So you instruct your children the way of the Lord. Hast thou daughters? Have care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. So if you have daughters, make sure your daughters got dresses on, modest dresses, man, head wraps, and enough. They don't have just the same one dress and one head wrap, man. Have a care of their body. Make sure that they're taken care of physically and spiritually. Care for their soul. They should know who Esther is. They should know who Judith is, who Martha is, who Mary is, who Jezebel is in wickedness, Athaliah, right? Ungodly woman and righteous woman. Now, when the Lord says, show not thyself cheerful toward them, that doesn't mean you can't smile and love your daughter. It means don't be best friends with your daughter, right? That's essentially what it means. You and your daughter aren't best friends. That's not you're her father. That's your daughter. Y'all learned high school texting buddies, man, and pass notes in class, and she tell you, ooh, I got a crush on Rel, and you say, ooh, well, why don't you think this ain't that, man. That's that worldly, it's like a new age thing going on, man. So yeah, you have that love, and you know it's okay to joke around and, bring mirth in your house, but you got to know when to draw that line. Right? You got to know, hey, look, man, your daughter should know it's a line that can't be crossed. There has to be boundaries established in your house. Boundaries between you and your wife, right? Boundaries between you and your children. And there are lines and things that just can't be said to you. Right? Your daughter just can't call you by your name, huh? Your slave name. Tony, right? Hey, Tony, I'm thinking about going out tonight. And it is what it is. And you say, man, my name not damn Tony. Stop calling me that. Right? You can't be like that, man. A lot of relationships between fathers and daughters that's in the world are just completely carnal, man. You got daughters going out to the club. Oh man, and you got the father sitting on the couch drinking the beer. I'm going out. She going down the stairs. She got a crop top on, got glitter all on her body. She all oiled herself down, right? She got a skimpy little skirt on. Going out. It's 12 a.m. and he drinking the beer. All right. Just leave the door. Just leave the door unlocked. You get bad counsel. All right, just leave the door unlocked. Here's the keys. And she just peel off. She come back at 4 a.m. You're passed out, man. And she's sneaking Rel in the house upstairs. And she know while she out freaking off, yeah, he's going to be drunk. He'll never know. He doesn't pay attention to me. He just watches the big game. So now she's sneaking Rel upstairs, holding his hand. And he tiptoeing up the stairs, man. Doing God knows what in your house. Then she sneak him out the front door. Then you, what was that? You wake up? Oh, it was nothing. And you go back, you take a sip of your beer and go back to sleep, man. You better know what's going on in your house. It says, let's read this. Marry thy daughter, meaning you would, in an ancient world, you would give your daughter to marriage. And so shalt thou have performed the weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. So a man is supposed to have care over his daughter and watch over his sons, man. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 30th chapter. Right, Salaki, bear with me. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Now, when you read the 30th chapter, goes into dealing with sons. Now, I'm not going to read that whole chapter, right? There's just a point or two I want to touch on that, right? There's a point or two that I want to touch on. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 30, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 30 and verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him at the end. So a father disciplines his son. Again, the best model image for a father and his son is Yahweh himself, Bashem Yahushua, concerning the children of Israel. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Yeah, I mean, these nations hate to see an Israelite family out publicly together. They're confounded because they went through billions of dollars and hundreds of years of counsel to cause dysfunctionality, if that's a word, and confusion and discord in the families, man. So when they see a father with his son and his wife and his children in order, with your ancient garments and fringes on it, they're grieved. They're grieved, man. So you're supposed to teach your son the commandments, your daughter the commandments, man. All right, let's go to Job 1. Right, let's get a few more dealing with a father. Right, like we brought out earlier, a father is really a priest and a mediator of the Most High. So you're responsible for keeping your family in the spirit, man. Right, you should know what's going on in your house. This is Job chapter 1 and verse 4. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were going about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned. He didn't really know. He said, look, it's a possibility, right? We're wicked. We're in the flesh. They were feasting. They probably thought something wicked, said something off. It may not have been comely, may have been ungodly. He said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. So Job rose up early in the morning for his house and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. And that's what fathers do. Fathers rise up early in the morning and they pray to Yahweh Shema for the house. May you forgive my wife, right? It may be that she hath erred in her heart. May you forgive my son, my daughter, right? My sons, my daughters, my children, right? They don't just wake up and get up and go to work, huh? Right? They rise up in the morning because you can't do an actual burnt offering now, right? So like you can't do an actual burnt offering now. So now your offerings are your prayers, repentance. That's Ecclesiastes 35, Hosea 4 and 2, Hebrews chapter 13 and 15, and a number of other precepts about spiritual sacrifices. You present your body as a living sacrifice, right? Because again, when the Most High puts spirits in your house, that's a direct result of you. So you can make intercession for your house at times, man. Now, they may not have went off, but it says, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. So it wasn't a one-day thing, right? And you alleviate a lot of spirits by doing that, man. A lot of your prayers when you're a father, they become more so for your household, man. Of course, you have your prayers for yourself. You want work out your own salvation, right? But you're praying for your household a lot of times, man. For their spirits, for them to fear the Most High, right? You may pray that the Lord increase the submissiveness of your house, that the Lord increase the fear of Yahweh in their hearts, that Yahweh Shema Shai increases their wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? You're praying for spiritual things for your house. May Yahweh Shema Shai forgive them for their iniquities and myself. Now you put a zealous spirit in the house. Job did these things continually and rose up in the morning as a righteous, wise father. Man. Any wise father would do that. Let's go to Genesis chapter 35. Right? This is the book of Genesis, chapter 35 and verse 1. And the Most High said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make there an altar to the Most High, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. So the Most High gave Jacob instructions. The Most High has given us instructions, right? Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean and change your garments. So he didn't ask them, he told them, put away that false god. Put away this God. Be clean. Get your spirit right. We're going on a fast. We're going to pray at this time, at this time, and at this time. Set your alarm. When I get in, we're going to do this. Right? This is the spirit that we're going to move in. We're going to increase our fear of the Lord. Right? And you direct and guide your house in righteousness, man. And that mitigates any type of spirits that may potentially creep in. Your house may not be overthrown because you are going above and beyond and looking at your house as an extension of you, right? Now, let's go to the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 30. All right, let's see where I'm at with time. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel. Okay, the 30th chapter. Right? So, brothers, remember that you are a priest for your family. Right? Now, here's something that happened physically, but, we're going to look at it on both sides. 1 Samuel 30 and 1. And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So David's wives were taken captive. Now, that was physical. Your wife could be taken captive as well, but by spirits. Remember, the Lord said in 2 Timothy, right? Let's go to 2 Timothy. And your children can be taken captive by spirits. Their physical health may be affected by spirits. Their spiritual health may be affected by spirits. Spirits can take your loved ones captives. They physically did it to David, right? But it can happen to you on a spiritual level. Right here, 2 Timothy, it's like I went chapter 2. Let's actually prove that in the words of the Lord. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 26. And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are what? Who are taken captive by him at his will. So a demon may take your wife captive. Now she's has a spirit on her, man, where she don't really want to be in this thing. She feeling like she want to go back in the world, and or your daughter gets sick out of nowhere and the spirit take her captive, or your son, he get a wrath, anger spirit on him, and all these spirits are taking your household captive, man. You try to figure out, well, what do I do? Well, let's see what David did, right? Let me read this again. So the enemy took David's family captive and his men, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives were taken captives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. Now here's the point. And David was greatly distressed, because you could be stressed out with all of these spirits in your house, man. Trying to figure out what do I do. I got a spirit on her. Is it me? And you start having 1,000 thoughts twice told. So David was greatly distressed. For the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But what did David do? But David encouraged himself, and the Lord is God. And that's the spirit you want to be in as a father, right? When these spirits befall your household, take them captive, you encourage yourself in the Most High. You remember how the Most High has delivered you, how Yahweh Shem Shai has delivered Lot, how the Lord has delivered all of us, man, from prisons and from sin and from the world and from the old man. And you strengthen yourself in the Most High, man. Because a lot of brothers have spirits that be on their household, man. Your women be out of order. She half in the world, she half in the truth. Your children going off, and y'all doing God knows what. You can't doubt. Can't put your head down. It's not time to get discouraged. It's time to encourage yourself in the Lord. To pray to Yahweh Shem Shai. Remember the right hand of the Most High, that the Lord could fix things in your house. And what else did David do? And David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired at the Lord. So the first thing a man of the Lord should do is inquire at the Lord. Yahweh Shem Shai, there are spirits in my house. Lord, reveal unto me why these spirits are in my house. If I have sinned, Lord, show me. You can say what you want to say, right? I'm just talking off the top of the head, right? Show me where these spirits come from. If it's me, reveal it unto me that I can repent. Make me to know my sins. If it is my wife and children, whatever you want to say. You inquire at the Most High when there are spirits in your house as a father. You're in charge of everybody's spiritual sanity and spiritual health. When there's demons on them, you're supposed to exorcise those demons. When they're sick, you're supposed to make intercession to Yahweh Shem Shai, right? And help out your children. When they need to be taught, when they need to be fed, it's all on you as a father. And David inquired at the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Right? Think about it spiritually. Shall I take these demons down? Shall we fast? Shall I overtake them? And he answered, pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. Now, what would have happened if David didn't inquire at the Lord? If David was presumptuous and he sought man before he sought the Most High? That's what brothers do. They seek man before they seek Yahweh Shem Shai. And they don't inquire at the Lord, man. David's wives were taken captive, and men's sons and daughters were taken captives. These were fathers, warriors, men of the Lord. David inquired himself at Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai, man. All right, these are spirits and traits that the men of the Lord should have. Let's get another trait. Right, this is the book of Luke, chapter 5 and verse 20. Let's see. I'm gonna start at 20. Here's another trait that father should have in his truth. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Now his son was wicked, right? Remember, he went off and he lost the inheritance and he dealt with harlots and whores. All of that is spiritual. But the father had compassion on him because the son repented, and the son was actually sorry for his sins. Right? You may, your children may have went off, your wife may have went off, and they're apologizing, and I don't want to hear that. You're wicked. You always be wicked. But I just wanted to say Salakia. Shut up. Right? The Most High is going to. You can't have that kind of spirit, man. You have to also exercise compassion when compassion is due. Is compassion due all the time? No. Right? You see the situation where compassion is due right here in the verse. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. So compassion is also another thing, because brothers have to understand that, as a father, your children, they're not going to be on your level. Your wife may not be on your level, right? They may do things you like, how could they think that that was the right move? Why would they do that? Sometimes you got to wink at ignorance, and that comes through experience. Sometimes you correct them or rebuke, and sometimes you don't have to react to everything, man. Right? You don't have to react to every situation, and everything don't require a reaction. And you got to recognize Satan too in your house, man, as a father. Look, Satan is hopping on my woman right now. I'm not going to entertain that. Right? Satan is hopping on my children right now. I'm trying to read, and all of a sudden all hell is breaking loose. It's all right, you can hit your child, or you could recognize that Satan too. I'm gonna go and throw out these prayers real quick that the Most High removed this demon from my house. They thought those prayers, you come back home and your children, they sleep, man. They take a nap. Right? And these things be tests for the men of the Lord, man. How do you deal with these situations? When are you going to apply the scriptures? Or are you just going to walk after your own lust? Man, when are you going to actually take heed to what the Most High is bringing out? So this father at this time, he exemplified compassion and showed it and displayed it because it was necessary. Why was it necessary? Due to the repentance and the sorrowful spirit that the son had. And sometimes you have to wink at ignorance, right? Because you can't expect everybody to be where you want them to be in this thing, man. A woman may do God knows what. I don't want to say God knows what, but she may get an attitude, right? Darken her countenance, right? Or your child may spill something. And sometimes you ignore it, man. I'm not going to feed into that. That's just Satan trying to tempt me. So Satan can hop on your woman to tempt you, to keep arguing with you. She keeps saying stuff under her breath. Right? Your children, they being lewd. Hey, Satan is hopping on your children, trying to tempt you to go off. Now, you as a father, what kind of move are you going to make? Some men in the world, they fight their wives. Oh, hell no. I ain't going for none of that. Then they feed into it. Now they going back and forth. The Lord didn't send you here to go back and forth with your woman, man. The Lord said in Ecclesiastes, I'm going to go back to that. Let's go to the previous chapter. So right, 27 and 30. Malice and wrath, even these are abominations, and the sinful man shall have them both. So if you're the type of brother who give into that anger demon, that wrath demon, now you punching holes in walls, you flipping stuff over the table, you kicking the wall down, you doing, hey, look, you have failed, brother. I don't care how right you think you are and what point you thought you proved in man's eyes, but you have failed in the eyes of Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. Yeah, I kicked the wall over. I showed her. Well, you showed the Most High that you was a damn fool. How about that? Because this is what the Most High said: malice and wrath, even these are abominations. And the sinful man, the wicked man, the man with no discernment, the man that's over emotional, the father that can't control his spirit, he's going to have them both. So that's why when you go to the next chapter, right, it adds to that. Ecclesiastes chapter 28 and verse 6, right? Remember thy end and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and abide in the commandments. Remember the commandments and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest and wink at ignorance. And sometimes you got to wink at ignorance, man. Right? Sometimes it happens. You know? So like sometimes you may have a child and your child, they damn, I don't know, they drew on the wall with a permanent marker. Right? Now you can get mad. We're not saying that that's not worthy to be mad about. But brother, you're on a fast right now. Right? You're on a fast. You gotta recognize, hold on, fast. I'm in the spirit, man. I'm reading, and wow, that's Satan right there. Now I'm not gonna give it. You might just take the mark out the hand and put the top on it and have a seat, sit down, whatever, man. Right? You gotta kind of have discernment and make judgment as a father, man. Right? When it's acceptable to do this and when it's acceptable not to do this. Is every situation applicable for you to wink at it? No, man. Right? So this is according to the situation. This is circumstantial. But the point is, this is something that brothers have to apply when it's time to apply it. Because there are times when you do have to wink at ignorance. And it's up to you through wisdom to discern when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. Right? Abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins. For a furious man will kindle strife. That's that going back and forth as a father. You're going back with your daughter. You shouldn't be going back with your son and your daughter, man. Going back and forth with your wife, y'all. Hey, look, man. A furious man will kindle strife. Whatever you say, look, it is what it is. Hey, look, hey, the Most High is going to deal with her, man. Right? The Most High is going to get up with her. And you leave it in. You can't take vengeance into your own hands, man. Right? So let's go to Ephesians, the 6th chapter. We have to learn how to be fathers and learn that these are traits and skills that we have to have, man. You got a lot of men that are courting, they're going to be fathers. You have men that are married, right? Who may bear children. You have men that have children, right? So these are things that we have to learn as a nation. Again, we're coming back to the Most High as a nation, not as an individual. You're not the only Israelite on the earth. There are nations and families in this thing, man. You know? Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Right? So don't provoke them to wrath, right? Meaning you don't want to be overbearing and put a spirit on them, right? But you want to bring them up in the nurture. What is the definition of nurture? Right? Let's go into this word nurture. Right? Let's play this. Okay, paideia, it means the whole training and education of children, which relates to the cultivation of mind and morals, and employs for this purpose now commands and admonitions, now reproof and punishment. It also includes the training and care of the body. You see that? So that's what it means. You have to bring them up in the nurture. You have to educate them according to what's written. You don't let the so-called white man educate your child. You educate your child. You show them what it's morally right, what is morally wrong. You cultivate. When you cultivate something, you grow it, you nourish it, you take care of it. You have to cultivate your child's mind. You have to cultivate your wife's mind. Let's get this definition of cultivate. All right, cultivation. See that? Here we go, that same thing as a husband. Prepare and use land for crops and gardening. Break up soil in preparation for sowing and planting. What are you planting? What are you sowing in the spirit? The word of the Most High. Right? So you got to cultivate their mind. Remove the wickedness and show them how to be upright. You're cultivators in this truth. Right? They're in the image of you. There's a saying, the apple doesn't fall. Right? The apple doesn't fall far, Salakia, from the tree. See that? The expression the apple doesn't fall far from the tree is often used to describe how children tend to inherit the characteristics of their parents. And brothers in this truth, and your wife will inherit your characteristics too. Right? You plant your woman take on your spirit once you lay down with her. It's not just, okay, she has my last name. That's in the world. Right? The woman showing her ring, look, I'm Mrs. Jones now. She's showing her ring to her girlfriend. Right? I'm Mrs. Jones. Look at me. And they all, ooh, look at the. No, man, it's not just take on your husband's name. You take on your husband's spirit. Children take on a father's spirit. Right? That's how this thing goes. It reads, this saying usually points out the similarities between a parent and child, whether physical or, look, check this out, or personality traits. See that? So you're responsible for cultivating their mind and show them they're going to be in the image of you. They're going to like what you like. They're going to dislike what you dislike. They're going to feed off of what you feed off of. They might sit how you sit. Right? They might stand. You might stand like this. Now your son, you look at your son, he's standing like that. You shaking a hand, they shaking a hand. You reading the word, everybody in the house reading the word to the Lord. They know at this time we always reading, nothing changes, and it is what it is. Right? You don't want to be a man that's like unpredictable, right? You want to have structure in your house, man. You want to have structure and like when you cultivate, there are set times of cultivation for gardening. You don't garden sporadically, man. Okay, you got this time when you break up the ground. You got this time when you plant the seeds. You got the harvest time when you gather in the crops. And it never changes. A true husbandman does not change his cultivation process for nobody. The seasons don't change. The sun and the moon don't change for you. Weather patterns and climate don't change for you. The growing of crops and the harvesting of crops don't change for man. They're on a fixed regimen. So a man, you should have a schedule. You should have a regimen. Look, every Sabbath at 9 a.m. and we're throwing up the prayers, right? Every time I get in from work, hey, we're going to go over this chapter. And it don't change. And you instill that pattern, that behavior, man. Right? This Proverbs 24 and 21. My son, fear the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. Right? You don't want to be the father where you said we're going to do something every Sabbath and now you're not doing it. You said every Sabbath at 8 a.m. we're going to pray. Brother, I mean, you only did that for 2 Sabbaths. Not a third Sabbath. You're like, well, I know what I said, but thinking about, come on now, you know what comes with that? A little bit of loss of respect comes with a man that can't keep his word. It may not be a lot, but you start getting a bad name as a father that can't keep his word. And Jake is known for that, right? I talked to a lot of Jakes your folks used to say in the world, yeah, maybe we'll do this. They always throw that word maybe. Yeah, maybe we'll go out and get you a car. Yeah, maybe we'll do this. Maybe next week I'll take you and do God knows what, man. My folks used to do that. I know a lot of Jake's folks used to throw that word, hey, maybe we'll do this, man. And guess what happened when that time came? And they never came through, man. It's always something changing, right? You don't want to be an unpredictable kind of guy, unpredictable father. Nobody could. Your family trying to follow your pace, but the tempo is always changing. You try to keep pace with you. You speeding up, then you slow down, then you're going right, then you're going left. Now you're in the world 3 days. Now you're in the truth 4 days. And everybody's trying to figure out where's the structure and the order in the house, man. Right? The Lord said, meddle not with them that are given to change. You don't want to deal with somebody unpredictable. You don't want to deal with somebody where you don't know what they're going to do next. They got this thing, never let them know your next move. That's like a trend, right? Don't let them know your next move, right? The Lord is not dealing with that, man. That don't let them know your next move spirit, man. That's that worldly folly, man. So you want to have a spirit of sustainability. Right? We're pulling up the definitions, right? Let's pull up this definition, sustainability, right? The ability to be maintained at a certain rate or a level, right? So sustainability is when something is fixed, right? Something doesn't change, right? That's the word you want. Well, you sustain. If you say that we're going to fast every Wednesday, sustain that. Let's put up the definition of actually just sustain. Okay, here's the definition. To cause, to continue, or to be prolonged for an extended period without interruption. Continuous, ongoing, like the Most High. Our Father, he deals with that, right? There are certain things that never change. The Most High sent manna 40 years in the wilderness. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. That's forever. The Most High don't change. The evening sacrifice, the morning sacrifice, it don't change. The burnt offering, right? The sin offering, the trespass offering, the grain, it don't change. It's the priest knew what was expected of them. They followed the spirit of their father. The children followed the spirit. The bride followed the spirit. The Most High did not change. The laws didn't change. The structure didn't change. The Most High, his word is above his name. So you want to have that same spirit as a father, right? If you implement something, sustain it. Because then when you don't, it's like, well, this guy's faulty. Right? He said we were going to do this, but we're not doing it. Keep changing. Now whatever you said don't even matter because they know you're not going to come through with it anyway. Huh? And now you inherit a bad name amongst your wife and your children. You don't want to do that as a father. Right? So here's the word sustain again. To cause to continue or be prolonged for an extended period without interruption. And you see the synonyms, right? Retain, round the clock. Yeah, round the clock, every Shabbat, right? Never ending, perpetual, right? Keep up, continuous, running. You're going to be round the clock. Every time we wake up in the morning, we throwing up the prayers to Yahweh B'Shem Shah. Round the clock. It's like clockwork. That's structure. That's order. Every Wednesday, the house we're fasting at sundown. So everybody knows. Before the sun go down on Shabbat, everybody purify themselves, shower, wash, get yourself right, and we're going to get into the word, to get into the law. So the whole family know. They know when you, every Thursday at 6 p.m., hey, look, oh, he's reading, right? You don't have to wonder if you're at the bar Are you freaking off? Look, they know at 6 p.m. at this time, hey, look, we know he's reading, right? Let's kind of calm down, kids. Kind of look, 6 p.m. he's reading all the time. It is what it is, right? So that's the spirit of our Father, right? This is Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Slakia. Numbers 28:3. And thou shalt say unto them, this is the offering made by fire, which ye shall offer unto the Lord. 2 lambs of the first year without spot, day by day, for a continual burnt offering. That's the point I want. Day by day, for a continual burnt offering. So having that structure in your house is wisdom. Kings have structures. Priests, they have structure. They have schedules, right? They have compassion. They have wisdom, right? These are different traits that we have to have as fathers, all right? Let's go to Psalms. Actually, I had a few more, right? Let's go to the book of Salakia. Did I get this in Ecclesiastes? Right? Let's get this. So, brothers, be mindful of that, man. Be mindful of the spirit. Ecclesiastes chapter 33. Of you as a father, right? And there are plenty of righteous examples, man. Right? There are plenty of righteous examples that we have in the holy text. Right? This is right. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 33. It's like it went up too much. In verse 19. I'm gonna start at 18. Hear me, O ye great men of the people, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. So another thing, as a father, you don't want to give your wife power over you, right? You don't want to give your brother power over you. You don't want to give your strength over to anybody but to Yahweh Bashmi Abashai, right? As long as thou livest and hath breath in thee, Salakia, give not thyself over to any. What does it mean? Don't give yourself over to any. I mean, don't be somebody's Salakia. Yeah, don't be somebody's yes man. Right? Somebody's just a little puppet and they control you and tell you whatever to do. Rather it's inconvenient for you or not. Right? Empty your pockets, drain your bank account. Okay. Right? Your woman say, shut up. You're not reading today. Okay. Your son say, hey, look, I'm thinking about taking your car. Give me your keys. Okay. Everybody just dominates you, man. And you just give yourself, you're like a slave to everybody. Don't do that, man. Have integrity as a father. Remember, you're made in the image and glory of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Have some self-esteem, some dignity, some honor about yourself. You are a father in this truth. Blessed like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Most High has given you children and a wife to look after and a possession of his own. Think highly of that. That's a heavy thing right there. That's a high regard. Right? You want to have self-respect, dignity. Let's pull up the definition. We're going to get maybe one more definition. Dignity as a father, right? The state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. Sense of pride in oneself, self-respect, your self-worth, right? Because some brothers, you feel too down about yourself, man, and it's not necessary at that time. We know we're not nothing, we're dust and ash, but remember, brother, and you're in this thing, man. You're a king, you're a priest. That will never be taken away, no matter how you feel emotionally. You being a king and a priest, that's always going to be there, right? Eminence, greatness, status, prominence, prestige. So the Most High said, as long as you livest, as long as thou livest, rather, and have breath in thee, give not thyself over to any. And I want to see this in another version. I want to go to this in Sirach 33 and 20, right? Just want to see. Right, let's go to Ecclesiastes, right? 33. Look at this. Look at this definition, right? Never, as long as you live, give anyone power over you, whether son, wife, brother, or friend. Don't give your property to anyone. You might change your mind and have to ask for it back. As long as you have breath in your body, don't let anyone lead your life for you. It is better that your children be dependent on you than the other way around. Keep control over all that you do. Don't let anything stain your reputation. So that's plain. Sometimes it is plain, right? Don't let nobody lead your life. You're the father. You have the final say so, man. You don't have to fold because your wife is mad and she don't want to read. You don't have to fold because your children don't want to pray. And when it's time to pray, it's time to pray. When it's a day of fasting, it's a day of fasting. When it's a day of mirth, hey, look, man, hey, look, we going out, we're going to do this, man. You know, because you still want to have that joy with your family too. You know, you want to have that just balance. You want to have that joy. You might go out, you know, go to the park. You might go out to eat or, you know, do something fun, for lack of better terms, with the children, right? Whatever. You want to have that just balance, but don't let nobody rule over you, man. Right? It's okay to have some mirth in this thing. When you go to Isaac, I believe that's Genesis the 26th chapter, right? Kind of this Genesis chapter 26 and verse 8. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. So Isaac wasn't beating up his wife. It's all right. He was sporting with his wife, man. Sporting meaning kind of joking around, right? And you may, there's nothing wrong with that at times, man. Playing with your children. The Lord said you want to have joy in your children. You might joke around with your wife, right? You want to be a father too. That's we use the word compassionate, but also humble, right? You want to be a humble father too, man. I don't sport. I don't do that. I don't laugh. I don't do none of that. Yahweh Shai, Elijah, shut up and read. You don't want to look. You're going to invite demons in the house. So again, have that just balance, man. As a father, and you might go out with your woman, man. The Lord said, "He that hath a wife cared for the things of the world, how he may please his wife." Right? And you may take your children to the park, man. They're not going to read the book of Isaiah all day. You have to understand that they're not going to do that. They can't read 66 chapters. Right? They're not going to want to watch 10 of your videos, brother, that you did. It's 4 hours. Yeah, y'all going to watch all of it. I want y'all to take, 20,000 precepts. Come on, brother. Y'all, brother, it's 85 degrees outside, man. Sunday. Got a full tank of gas, brother. And you got them in a room locked in, man. Y'all done read 20 chapters. Y'all fasted once this week, man. Yeah, y'all can't see something like y'all gotta wait to the kingdom, right? And you get a lock for the inside of the house. You can lock them on the inside. Well, that's wicked, brother. Right? You locking people on the inside of the house, right? You kind of switch the locks and you're doing this and you put a chain on the door. Don't come out till you have broken down the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Well, you got to check your spirit, right? It says Isaac was sporting, right? We know sporting meaning joking, mirth, right? Laughter, right? Let's get that real quick, right? Let's get this sporting. See, that's to laugh, mock, play. To sport, play, make sport with, make a toy of, laugh, right? So that's the spirit that Isaac and his wife had, man. So they was friends, right? They weren't just, you're my slave, right? That wasn't the relationship that Rebecca and Isaac had. You're my slave. That's what brothers think. You're my slave. You submit, and it is what it is. Yeah, your wife submit, but come on, brother. Y'all are married, man. You know? Some brothers they don't understand that. It's okay to laugh with your wife, man, and smile. Well, I don't do that. I'm a man of the Lord, right? I'm too busy doing my in-depth breakdowns, right? Well, brother, you're gonna have some problems, right? Then you go lay up with your woman. Yeah, you know what it is. And you put 1 Corinthians 7. Every time you want to lay up with your woman, the wife has not power over her body. Lay with me now. And then it's just all types of spirits happen, man. Because it's not a joy. She don't want to be with you, man. She just now it's like she just a slave. You understand your wife is a weaker vessel. Your children are weaker vessels, man. Right? Let's get that. Right? Your children are weaker vessels than the wife. 1 Peter 3:7. Husbands, Slaki, likewise your husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Right? So understand that your children, your wives, the weaker vessels, you deal with them in wisdom, you deal with them in moderation, and you deal with them as righteous fathers in this truth. Right? As fathers in Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, like Yahushua. So with that, I'm going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, like Yahushua. Most High willing you were edified. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom.